Yeah, just give me 1 minute.
Sure, Abhi.
Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen. I hope my voice is audible and you can see my screen too.
Yeah, everything
So,
good.
yeah, okay, thank you. So let me mute everyone. I'll give you the access at the end of the session.
Abhi, you're muted. We cannot hear you.
Okay, how about now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, just 1 minute. So we'll start with that. So our topic, we'll start with the bank account management first. We'll try to see what are the new things in the bank account management. So that will be our starting point. So let's start. So we'll go to the SPRO settings and we'll do our configuration in the company code.
Yeah, just a quick question here.
Yeah, yeah.
We're gonna get the system access, right?
Yes, yes, definitely you're going to get the system access.
Okay, so
We'll,
are we gonna get the system access? Sana, we're gonna get an email from you for the system access link.
Yes, yes. Tomorrow morning, okay?
Okay, so send us the GUI link for both Apple laptop to download, and also
Everything, Arif. Yes, everything. Okay. Admin related stuff, we can talk, Arif, after the session. Okay?
oh, okay.
Thank you.
okay. So since this topic is from the cash management, bank account management, so we start the session with a bank account management. So we'll do our configurations with the all this setting in the TR00 company code for which I have created for this demo purpose. I mean, for this training purpose. So first of all, we're going to see in the financial supply chain management what is new in the bank account management. So this is our SPRO screen, and we will go first with the cash and liquidity management, bank account management, sorry, cash and liquidity management. And first thing is under general settings, you can see the basic settings. So this is the thing. So you can see under the cash management scope, under the cash scope, there are two scopes. One is called the basic scope and the full scope. Now, what is the difference between these things? Say example, previously you might have seen that in ECC, the people who are already working in the ECC staff, ECC, so normally what happened was, example, let's talk about the basic scope. When you're talking about the basic scope, SAP, what they suggested that, example, previously we are able to create everything let's say house bank creation. So in order to create the house bank, usually what we have to do, we are doing that first we create the uh, bank key, and then we'll be creating this house bank ID. So let's say when you create the house bank ID, let's say I'm going to create this TR00. My example here would be the company code TR00. Now if I go and create a house bank under TR00, let's say I'll be creating a new house bank. The house bank ID would be, let's say, city, city. And before I go and create this house bank, I have to first create this FI01 that is called bank key. So let's say my bank key, the country registration is India and bank key. So what is the bank key? Why we are creating the bank key? So bank key is basically grouping together all the banks with a branch wise, right? So what I'm trying to say here, let's say in India, if I'm trying to group a branch, so what is the way to? So we have here IFSC code, IFSC code of the branch, because every branch in India has got a different IFSC code. Okay, this is the code every bank would be providing to you. What would be their IFSC code? Or if you go and check in internet, you can find it out. What is the IFSC code, right? So based on that, we'll be grouping all the similar banks under the banking. So let's say here, just give me a moment.
So Abhi, Banki is nothing but the unique branch. I mean, each branch has a unique Banki or a group of branch combined together. You create one Banki. How is that?
Can you repeat the question once again?
I said a Banki is the identifier of a particular branch, one single branch, or a
Yes.
group of branch
No, no.
together
It is a
put together.
one single branch.
One, okay,
Every
branch.
branch. Yeah. Hmm,
Correct. Okay, got you. For a particular bank, one branch, you create one bank key for that. Okay.
correct. Okay. Let's say I'm creating a branch of the Mira Road Bank. Let's say company code is situated in Mira Road, Mumbai. And if I go and check in internet, I'll find that the IFSC code of Mira Road Citibank branch number would be, let's say, city 48. This would be the IFSC code of the Mira Road branch. So I'll go and create, I'll say it's a City Bank Limited, and region would be 13 for Maharashtra, and I say 25 by 25 by 22 Mira Road, City Mumbai, branch Mumbai. So here you can give the SWIFT code. SWIFT code is required when you basically transferring your fund. Let's say you are making a payment to a supplier who is in abroad. Say example, if you make any foreign currency payment, so bank will need your SWIFT or IFSC, I mean SWIFT code or BIC code. Means this SWIFT code is required only when you make an international payment, cross-border payment. Bank group. So we don't need any specific bank group to make a payment. Why this is information is required? So first of all, technical perspective, now we understand. the functional perspective, what is the banking? So banking is basically grouping together all the branch or a particular branch with a branch wise. Example, if I have an in a Mira Road branch, if I have a Citibank with a Mira Road branch, I will highlight that the current account which I have opened into that branch, I'm linking this particular bank key with that house bank and account ID. This is one thing. Second important point of the bank key creation is this is the only place from where you can maintain the sweep code. So when you create the house bank and you do not have any option to maintain the sweep code. So sweep code, you remember every branch having their own sweep code, and this sweep code always be branch wise. So that's a reason, technical reason of creating banking is that to maintain the sweep code, and this sweep code is required when you make an international payment, cross-border payments. And when you create the DMEs, data medium exchange for the payment file creation, at that point of time, this sweep code would be get derived from this particular field. So functional point is to grouping together branch wise, and the technical reason would be this is the only place where we maintaining the sweep code, and the sweep code is required while making a payment. When you're sending a payment file, to the bank, let's say for one of the foreign supplier, that point of time in the payment file, sweep code has to be maintained. Otherwise, your payment file will be rejected by the bank. So right now I'm not maintaining anything. Okay. So I have created one bank account. I have created one bank key. Now what I'll do here, I use the same bank key. Okay. And save it. Okay. Now this is now if I go to I have created a company code, I have created a house bank and bank key. I'm linking the house bank with the bank key that this my house bank are related to this particular branch. Now, if I go to my bank account, you can see the first thing you can see it here. This is a read access only. That means now creation of the bank account is no longer part of configuration. If you see here, this has been grayed out. You cannot go and create your bank account from this screen, the configuration screen, right? So in order to create this house bank in S4 HANA, you have to go to the Fiori app, and from there only you can go and create your bank account. Now coming to this point that nowadays now many companies they wanted to create their house bank from the configuration screen. But now, just to inform you that even the creation of bank key and the house bank also you can directly go and create in the Fiori app, and it's a mere a master data now. It's a mere a master data. That's the reason if you see that whenever I create this, it is not generating any transport request number. So what I'm trying to say, this is no longer as a transportation object, rather the creation of house bank, creation of banking, it's all a part of your master data. Now, what we do, since I have created this master data called house bank, so now the rest of the things I cannot create it from this particular screen of GUI. So I have to go and open my Fury app. But before I open the Fury app, let me make you understand few of the things as a part of configurations. Now, if I go to this is my uh, This is my bank account. This is called my bank account configuration. So you can see this thing under cash and liquidity management, general setting. There's called a basic setting tab. Now this is most important. Now many who are running an ECC from the ages, they will say that my I don't have any requirement as such. I only wanted to create a house bank, whether I can do from the configurations or I'm I'm able to create it from the Fury app. Doesn't matter. I don't have a much function about that. So in that case, there are two options on that. SAP has come up your bank account, bank and cash management. That means your cash and bank account are the part of now, it's a bank account management, or the new name of bank account management in SAP's language, it's called bank relationship management. Previously, in S4 HANA, we know this particular term that SAP was using called bank account management, advanced bank account management. Now they have changed the term. Instead of bank account management, they will say bank relationship management. Now, in the bank relationship management, has got a two aspect of it. One is called the basic scope, and another is one is full scope. Now, what is the basic scope of it? Say example, as per the company or organization structure, you do not have a large function of your bank account management. You still wanted to go with the traditional way of creating your bank account. Let's say you wanted to create a bank account, you get bank key and house bank and bank account. That's it. You don't wanted to create more than that. You don't wanted to use new features of cash management. You still wanted to use ECC approach of cash management and the bank account management. In that case, you have, if you go with the basic scope, SAP will not charge you any separate licenses. And that is called the BAM or BRM Lite, Bank Relationship Management Lite versions. In the Lite versions, you always get the basic scope of the bank account management. And what is the basic scope? That you can only get, you can create a bank account directly from the Fury app. That's it. You are not able to do anything. You cannot use the new features of cash management, new features of cash trade request, right? You only can go and create the bank account management directly, and for that, SAP not charge anything for that. Okay, so I'm saving that one. That's it. So in this, you only can go and create. So I will first go and create the bank account management. Guys, give me one moment, please. Okay. So this is what I'm saying, that this is called a basic scope of it. But what is the new scope? If client is asking for, they wanted to use the S4 HANA, the advanced features. Example, let's say you wanted to use the dual control, workflow, 2% verification. These are called new features. In that case, and if you wanted to use the advanced cache management powered by S4 HANA, then your basic scope will not work. So most of the time when you're going to a client location to give a demo to a client, we will always suggest it to, and they will also convince that since this is a part of the uh, creation of bank account management by the end user. So the utmost care should be taken, you know, while creating a bank account management. In the basic scope, what will happen then? A 1% or 2% we can assign, or you can assign a number of person. There is no restriction for that to provide an access to create the bank account management directly from the Furia. But what are we trying to say here? The emphasis on the point is, since the bank account creation is a master data, so utmost care should be taken whether someone is not creating a wrong bank account. Because let's say if I'm a user, I've created one bank account, in that I have given my personal ID. It may happen, may not, because you never know that. So in that case, what will happen? Entire payment would be routed to this particular person. So that's the reason it is at most important that a process to be maintained, so that whatever creating by one person should be validated by the another person. And for that, the basic bank account management cannot work. Because if you wanted to use the functionality called dual control or a workflow, in that case, you must have an advanced bank account features. And the advanced bank account features come with the separate licenses. Along with the advanced bank account management license, that's called BRM, advanced BRM licenses, you get all these options. So example, that is called the full scope, and it comes with a separate license cost. So in that advanced bank account relationship, you get the full scope of that, and in that you can have a function called enable snapshot, enable cache trade request. These are advanced features of the cache management. Example, in the ECC cache management, what happened was, whenever we create a memo records. Now, what is memo records? Memo records are those transactions. Example, let's say, um, I have to make a cash payment to my tax authorities after 7 days. Now, what will happen whenever you post an accounting entry? Only then this posting will reflect to the cash management. Example, if I have to make a payment of my invoices or receive a payment from the customer, or like this, any tax payment to the government authority, only that point of time, whenever you make a posting, that point of time, your cash management data gets updated. Now, let's say I have to make a payment to my tax authorities after 10 days. So there is no data, because data will only get posted when you do the actual payment. Now, in this case, your cash manager wants to know that what is my tentative payables, liability for my payables to the tax authorities. So in that case, SAP provide an option to create those transactions for which accounting entry has not been posted. You can go and do this posting in memo records. Not only that, let's say if you wanted to make some forecasting, like whenever you go and see that business always makes various forecasting, let's say revenue forecasting, expenses forecasting, like their capex forecasting, opex forecasting, like that. So either you can go and maintain all your forecasting under the business planning or consolidation, that is the BPC module. Now the new name of the BPC module is called the group reporting module. So normally, um, if the customer is in um, S4 HANA, they usually go and maintain their planning data into the BPC module. If their organization, I mean, let's say this, normally they will go and maintain in the BPC module if they are in ECC system. But let's say if they are in S4 HANA, the new part of the BPC, the new name of BPC is called the group reporting. Under the group reporting, it is the same thing. BPC's name has been changed in S/4HANA called group reporting. In the group reporting, there is a tool called planning. So under that, they make all sort of planning. Here they are, forecasting revenue, forecasting expenses, all their planning they'll maintain under the planning version of group reporting. Now, now it has a different cost of it. But let's say if your client is not implementing their BPC module for planning, in that case, Memo Records is the tool which is under the part of the cash management via which also they can maintain those expenses called their forecasting expenses. Also, they are forecasting any future payments which might not have posted via the GL account. They can go and maintain it via the memo records in cash management. So previously, what happened whenever we're creating any memo records to the system, this memo records basically it represents the any kind of forecasting payment or any forecasting receivables, forecasted payment, forecasted receivable. These are the things we normally maintain under memo records. Then what happened? Let's say I have to make a payment to my tax authorities of let's say 1 lakh amount, and I wanted to see this in the part of as a part of my payables in the cash management because what happened? The cash management reports it is required by the each and every treasury manager because treasury are the team who takes care after you initiate the payment of F110. They will go and see whether they have a sufficient cash available to make the payment of the supplier or not. If they do not find that available cash is not, there is no sufficient cash available, they will talk to the supplier and hold the payment. Okay. Or if the payment cannot hold it, in that case, they will ensure that their limit is available to make an urgent payment or make all this payment to the supplier. So before he takes the decision whether to make a payment, whether the cash is available to make a payment, he needs a report of cash management. So the every morning, the cash manager, when it comes to office, the first thing he will go and check the cash management report to see what is the daily cash position, whether he is in a position to make payment. If not, he will take the other decision, like example, to arrange a loan from the bank. It is not like instantly they will go and arrange the loan. Their loan always, any company, any corporate, they by default, they will have their, loan facilities in the form of cash credit or overdraft facilities. So they will utilize their these loans, the OC, CC, and OD, depending on the situation. What is the cash position in the cash management report? Okay. So in that, what we usually do that whenever we create a memo records, and memo records have got a certain features. Like example, if I'm creating a memo record, I will going to give it after 7 days. Maybe I will expire or delete this memo record because at that point of time, let's say I will make an actual payments. So that's a reason before making an actual payment, I will delete those memo records. But when you delete this memo record in ECC, what was happening then? Later on, if you wanted to see that how many memo records has been created, you cannot see those deleted memo record in the system. But now business realized that even though you deleted memo records, but for my analysis purpose, maybe let's say after later periods, I wanted to see how many such memo records created for any reporting purpose. I cannot have an option to retrieve it back once it is deleted. This was a limitation of the in the ECC cache management in the ECC module, that once you deleted the memory code, you cannot see it back in the report. So that's a reason SAP realized that particular error because many customer how they are changing their pattern of the program because whenever customer giving the feedback that now they still wanted to see those memo records which has been deleted. So that's the reason they have given these features in S4 HANA that you can use the enable snapshot. What is enable snapshot? It is basically one of the feature is that if you delete any memo records and later on if you wanted to see those things, then you can enable the snapshot functionality. Using snapshot functionality, you can see those deleted memo record into the system. Yeah. So this is the part of advanced cache management, which is license one. Enable cache trade request. Say example, this is the functionality of the treasury point of view. Let's say in the treasury, there is a tool called trading platform integration tool called 360T and FX all. FX all. These are the trading platform integration tool. So out of that, SAP recommend to use 360T trading platform integration tool. What is the trading platform integration? Let's say whenever you do the investment into the system, first of all, or let's say when you are buying a shares, or let's say you are buying an investment, what you do basically, you provide a request to the bank to, to give a quotation, right? To first you collect the quotation before doing any investment with the bank. Let's say you decided to do a fixed term deposit with the bank, let's say for the 6 months, and you have a 100 million amount available with the bank with to your bank and this amount is not required, let's say for 6 months, and then company has decided to utilize this fund under the fixed term deposit. Now, in ECC, there is an option you can collect the different quotation from the bank, right? In ECC, there is a transaction code which allows to collect the different quotation from the bank. Let's say you have a two, three bank. You have a Citibank, you have a Axis Bank, and you have a State Bank of India. Now you collect them, you provide this your requirement to all the bank. Like I have 100 million and I wanted to do investment for the 6 month in the fixed term deposit. I need a quotation. So bank will depending on the volume of amount and they will provide a rate of interest for their fixed term deposit. Now in ECC you have an option. There is a T code available called collect quotation or the quotation or offer. We call in the SAP TRM the collection of offers. Mean from the multiple bank, you collect the different quotation of rate of interest and you update it. And let's say out of the three bank, if let's say Citibank has provided maximum rate of return, like means rate of interest of the 6 month fixed deposit at maximum. In that case, what we do, we collect the quotation from three different banks, and then when you identify that Citibank has given a decent rate of interest than the other two banks, I will create my fixed term deposit from the offer of the Citibank. Now, this offer is no longer available, this particular transaction code of offer in the ECC system. So if you wanted to use this features or function, you need a trading platform integration tool called 360T. Using that, you can able to collect all quotation into the system. So now this 360T is a very, I mean, it's not a free software. 360T is a separate licensing tool and it is not used by everyone. Let's say the company who is a big company and they can afford to maintain, they wanted to have a trading platform integration tool where the request send a request. The trading platform integration tool basically a linkage between your brokerage firm with the with your SAP system. So when you let's say when you're buying a shares, what normally you do, you give a request to your broker that I wanted to buy this shares or let's say if you want to do an investment with a bank, you give a request to the bank saying that this is the amount of mine, I need a quotation. So all these things you can maintain it in trading platform integration tool. Now the client who are not interested to use the trading platform integration tool because it's a costly one, in that case, SAP has given a workaround solution called cash trade request. Using the cash trade request, it's a advanced features of cash management. They can use that cash trade request in the either in the forex or the money market, and using this, they can do that kind of. I will come to that point when you go to that. So they can use the cash trade request into the system without using, if they decided not to use the 360T platform because my organization is not big, I cannot afford. In that case, as a work, I mean, as an workaround solution, SAP provide a cash trade request. And these features is also available with the advanced bank relationship management. It is with the license one. So all these features are the part of advanced bank relationship management. And as I said, in the basic scope, if I try to activate the basic scope, you can see that snapshot only supported in full scope. So not only snapshot your casted request, and even if you go with the workflow and you try to save it, you say, I mean, system will even error message saying that the workflow functionality is not available under the basic scope. Only directly activate directly. This is the only scope available in the basic. So definitely we need a full scope to activate all this functionality. Yeah, this is the basic initial configuration point. And then there are certain other basic configuration before you go and create a bank account management. So let's say I use all my advanced feature, and as I here I mentioned, the scope of cash management is full scope, and I'll go first with a direct creation or direct changes. And later on come to the workflow. Maybe I'll to check whether the workflow is working or not. I'll come to this workflow later part of it. So first we'll understand the basic thing, how to go and create the bank account, the um, Fiori app. So before I do that, I have to make certain configuration. What are those configurations? These are things. You can see here under bank account management, basic set. Define number ranges for change request. So you have to go here and let's say you have to go and maintain example here. Let me create this. Let me delete this one and I'll tell you, let's say if I do not maintain this configuration, oh, it's not possible. Okay. So what happened? Okay, let's not delete. Let's say I'll go and create a number range request. So if you do not maintain this, let's say if you do not maintain the number range for the change request, what is the number range for the change request? Say example, now let's say you're creating everything like, from the Fury app. So Fury app require these two number range to be maintained. Let's say what are those number range? Define number range for the change request. So example, when now what happened, let's say if you're going to create a bank account via the Fury app. So Fury app, whenever I create a request, it will create two things. One is the change request, one is the technical IDs of the bank account. So change request means the change request for the every bank account you creating via the Fury app, it require a change request. So in the change request, we have to define the number range. What is the change request number? So here I have given, this is the number range. And if I go to the number range for the bank account and technical IDs, you can see similar number range I have maintained for the technical IDs. Now, one more thing here I have to tell you that when you this change request is only applicable when you go and maintain the workflow. Flow means, example, you create a bank request, you create a bank account, and the moment you create a bank account, it will go and create a workflow items. So at that point of time, you have to, this number range is required. If you go and see these things, number range, assign number range, change request to the bank, the system automatically create assign request to the bank. So this entire activities of this number range creation, change request, it is only an applicable when we have activated the workflow. But the technical IDs, define number range for the technical IDs, it is required when you, whether you create a bank account from the workflow or you can create direct bank account from directly Fury. In both the cases, that bank account technical ID is required. So technical ID is mandatory whenever you create a bank account from the Fury app. But this setting is required only when you have activating the workflow in to create a bank account management. Okay. So I have created this is also technical ID for bank account, and I have created same 01 number range. And after that, I can go and click on assign number range. Here you can see that in both the cases, my first one, the range for the changes and technical IDs for the ranges number range, both the places I maintain the same number range. Okay, you can see it here name. So this is the basic settings to create a bank account from the Fury app to maintain this number range settings. And now I will go to my Fury app library, Fury app, and okay, so this is your Fury Launchpad. So the first thing, whenever you go and access your system, the first thing you have to go and change your settings. You go to the settings and you go to the home page. Ideally, you will see that your configurations, by default, the settings should be show all the content. You have to go and change from show all content to show one group at a time. So what will happen? It will improve the performance of your Fury app. So if you make this setting, your Fury app would be faster than this one. So in this case, what will happen? System will show all the Fury app together. So that way there will be, you can see there is a performance issue. Your Fury app would be little slower. So that's the reason you can come here to the settings and make changes, show one group at a time and save it. And then you can go and see bank. If you type relationship, okay, maybe it's not showing from here. You can see bank relationship. So I'll click on this one. And here you can see for bank relationship, this is the new name of instead of saying the bank account management, with the new term of the SAP is called bank relationship management. So under that, you can see there are so many Fury apps are available. These are called Fury app. These are called tiles, and it is called the tile group. Bank relationship is the tile group, And under the group tile, you can see these are the various tile, or we can call it as one of the Fury app. Thus, each tile represent one of the Fury app. So you can see the basic manage bank account basic, display house bank, manage. So here, this is place where you can go and maintain my bank accounts. Example, this is the Fury app called manage bank account. So whenever you open that, you can see your screen. There are a lot of functionality of it. You can import and export bank account management. You can manage bank account hierarchy. You can create document. So this is the first thing what you have to do, that create. Now what is a create? Creation of your bank account. Let's say I have created already TR00 company code and account type, current account, and let's say create. So what I have created so far, let's say if I go to the FI12, if I go to my house band, I have created this house band ID. So now the only I was not able to create the bank account, so I can go and create my bank account from this cell. So here, whenever you go here and click on create, it will ask you what is your company code and what is the account type, right? So you can give the account description. Let's say I said here, account description would be Citibank current account. This is my account description of the bank. Now account number. So whenever you open a bank account, the bank will give you the bank account number. Let's say I'll give it here. This is my, let's say, this is the current account bank account, current account number. Now, what is the bank key, country key? So this is, you remember that we have defined this bank key and bank key country and the bank and the currency in which you wanted to open the bank account, INR. You can maintain the IBAN number. IBAN number is only applicable in case of European countries, international bank account number. And here you can give the details of it, like what is your company code, the profit center. If you create a profit center, you can directly assign the profit center and the account management. Let me go and see that whether I have created a profit center. I'll go and if not, I'll create a profit center. Let's say for my company code, let me see if any profit center has been created. Let me go to the my display mode.
Abhi, if there is multiple profit center for a company code, then in that case, do we assign one of it or no need?
Yeah, whatever is the profit center. See example. Yes, you rightly said the profit center could be multiple, but for a specific bank, it is not like that multiple profit center would be applied. For a bank, there will be only a single profit center would be applied. Okay, so that way for the bank, because it is not like the other way. Maybe I agree with that. Maybe depending on the situation, sales purchase, you can do it different profit center mapping. But when it comes to any treasury related stuff, there would be always a default profit center.
Like operations or something, operation profit center.
Correct, correct. Right.
Okay.
Operation profit center. Correct. So the profit center, and you can define a segment from directly in that bank account management. So what will happen whenever you do the posting of it, the system will fix the profit center from the your master itself. I'll not go to this the bank statement setting at this point of time. What I'll do here, my activities would be here. If you see that bank account creation, if I go here, it would be resources, and here you can see house bank account ID bank account that has to be maintained. So you can see house bank connectivity. I'll go and click on create house bank connectivity, and you can see here, this is most important features. Example, you can see central system. You can see central system GL account, central system house bank, remote system house bank. What does it mean? Remote system GL account. Example, let's say this is one of the places where we have seen we have implemented this one. Example, let's say you have a two different system. One is your ECC system for your, and parallelly you have a your centralized payment system. Now, initially what happened, customer had decided that they will create their house bank in the ECC system, and main house bank would be in a different system, and then you can you can use those via the RFC connections. Example, let's say in ECC system they have created the bank account, the house bank, and they only wanted to link, because bank account creation they wanted to create it centrally. But house bank they have created from the remote system. Let's say in ECC, the house bank has been created. So in that case, they will go with this ID called remote house bank, let's say in ECC system, but bank account they wanted to create centralized system, that is an S4 HANA. In that case, we use the remote house bank account ID. But let's say if we are creating everything, but that things, I mean, later they have changed, because initially we have implemented, but later they said no, we want a centralized payment system where everything would be created into the S4 HANA, and then what will happen? A IDOC would be sent to that system to update the bank account details. So there is an enhancement required, where let's say we have decided company majority company, they decided, you can see that their deciding factor, everything they will create in S4 HANA system, and they wanted to distribute the messages to the system wherever they require. Let's say even ECC system required in house bank, they was created in centralized S4 HANA system, and then they will transfer it to the ECC system. So if your everything, let's say creation of bank account is a centralized one, then you select the centralized house bank system. Okay. So in case, let's say the bank, they decided even for the house bank, for the bank account of the ECC system, they want to create, centralized, I mean, bank account. That means what I meant to say here, let's say this is their ECC system. So in the ECC system, they have created this information. But bank account, they wanted to create in S4 HANA system, right? If this is the situation for you, in that case, you will be selecting that remote system house bank account, and you have to link your remote system, like which is the remote system. So here, I mean, limited remote system has come. You have to maintain your other remote system where you are, where you have created your house bank. In case those things has been created in ECC, and ECC also want, that creation of the bank account is in, now it is a part of UD. So you have to link your remote system, and then you can create your house bank. This is one of the things.
So, Abhi, you mean
Let's
to say,
see.
like, for example, a company has, I mean, different, they're in different systems, right? They have ECC also, they have transactions happening, and then they have implemented S4 HANA for one of the system, right? So, if some account, I mean, bank account is created in ECC, and they want to use that, and house bank is created in ECC, they want to extend on additional accounts into that house bank. So That is
That
what you
additional
think.
account. What I'm saying in now also, if you're using ECC plus S4 HANA, right?
Hmm.
Let's say this would be typical example of the in-house cache. So in the in-house cache, what will happen? There will be some sort of sending system and one would be a centralized payment system. So what usually they will do in the sending system, they will create all the invoices and house bank they will be creating. And the same house bank also they will be creating as S4 HANA. So now, as you say that whenever client is using ECC and S4 HANA, they prefer to go and create because bank account management is a now part of the house bank. So let's say they have decided the bank account creation would be done centralized way. So in that case, this is the option of it. Example, remote system. Let's say they created because the example in ECC you can directly create everything. If you have not implemented ESP, I mean, if you using ECC system for your house bank, or let's say you're not going with the S4 HANA, then everything you can go and create an ECC system. But let's say now the company has decided all their bank account they wanted to create in S4 HANA. Why so? Because bank account management is a part of S4, I mean, part of master data. And they decided even they have a different system where the house bank gets created, but bank account would be still part of master data. And let's say it would be created via the workflow. In that case, they will opt for this remote ID. Is it clear?
Okay. Yeah. Mhm.
But what I'm trying to say, this approach, maybe it may be at this point of time, they may be using because uh, they are having an ECC system, but later point of time, the approaches has to be changed. You can suggest to your client to make everything in a centralized way, like S4 HANA, and then you update these messages to the other system. So that is the, I mean, standardized approach. Okay. So let's create everything, your house bank and account ID in the S4 HANA system, and then whatever been created in S4 HANA via the IDOC, you can send messages to the other system, and from there, whatever been created, it will go and update to their bank account. That is an the wise approach actually. But anyway, this is just an information for you because you may not be knowing that, or maybe some people knows about that, some people. So that's why
And
I thought of just
Nabi,
giving this information.
when you
Uh,
say the central system, you're saying if everything is is on HANA, you create this connectivity path as a central system, and then the IDOC get generated and it passes on the information, the details of the house bank and the bank account to which system you mean to say? The other system, for example?
Other system, let's say they have a two different system. A centralized payment system, they have created one HANA boxes,
Oh,
and
okay.
for their day-to-day invoices, posting everything, they create a different HANA system.
So another instance you mean to say?
Yes,
Okay.
another instances. So there
Okay.
they can update these messages.
Just
Like
via
this is
I but
your,
IDOC, again you have to work with technical team to uh,
yes, yes,
come up with the IDOC where all this field, whatever you have created in a bank details, has to be mapped in that IDOC, and then it goes and update in the same in another boxes.
right, right.
Okay.
So now I have mentioned, maintain that this is my ID category would be centralized system of house bank. And here all the details comes like you can see that your company code, your house bank, because house bank, you can see that I have already been created. My house bank is city and validity date, it would be, you can give it, select any validity date from the 1st April or the day of creation. And here I'll give this account ID as 1000 and click on, and apart from that, you have to go and give your GL account details. So example, let's say I have to go and create bank account details. Example, city, main bank account.
So Abhi, we're not going to use the
We're not
cash,
gonna
the GL account type as cash management. No, we're not going to select that option.
I will come to that scenarios later part of it. At this
Okay.
point of time, because that is not a great features of it, but yes, there are certain functionalities you we can know. Uh, One of the scenarios I will definitely use that creation of cash account, but many companies they are not using, but many companies there are features also we can see that. Okay, we'll come to that scenario later part of it, but at this point of time, I'm just creating a bank account without selecting the cash account type. I'm selecting a simple balance sheet account and asset account, and in
Right.
control ID, I'm using this short key called 001 and field status group as G005, that is bank account, and that's it. So I will be using this my GL account for my house bank. That's it. Apply this. My mistake. I'll again go and have to go and maintain. It's not updated. No problem. Okay, let me discard this one because GL account has to be created beginning only. This is my bank key. I'll just go and quickly update this bank key. Now you can see that whenever you go and create, it would be save as inactive. So it would be always save as inactive. So, and it will give a warning message that bank account, whatever has been created, Citibank with the bank key, region not been added in bank hierarchy. So I'll come to this point. What is the bank hierarchy and why we require? So now if you see that, if I go to the report and if I go to my company code, let's say TR00, so TR00, and I click on this report, execute this report, you'll see that whatever has created, it is in the inactive state. So I'll go to this bank account and I have to go and activate this. I have to go and activate this one. And now with this, now let's say this has been activated. Once I go to this activation, it has been activated here. Now, if I go to my house bank account, if I go to my house bank in the ACC, ECC, I mean my GUI FI12, I can see that my house bank and my bank account has been created. So this is the way to we can go and create my bank account from the Furia. So this is how you can go and create your bank account, and it would be available from here. Once it is created, this entire details would be available here. Now another thing you might have seen here, or let's say if I go to his bank account in ECC, um, let's say if you the don't wanted to use a particular bank account, let's say here businesses ask you that we are not going to use this Citibank anymore. We wanted to close a bank account. So what usually we used to do, we go to our configuration FI12 and we remove the GL account from here. And here we mention the description, we mention cross, do not use something like that. And we remove the bank account number and GL number from the configuration. This is how we usually handle the deletions or closure of the bank account in the ECC system. But now what happened in S4 HANA bank account management, you have a complete closing process. Let's say first what you do that mark for closing, send closing request to the bank, confirmation of closing bank account, change bank account inactive. I mean, all these things, these three steps, sorry. Mark for closing, send closing confirmation request to the bank, confirm blank closing. That's it. Once you confirm the blank closing, change bank to inactive. So the moment you close that, the bank account will be closed for posting. You no need to do anything. The system will take care once you confirm the closing of these activities. Okay. So
There is a DME connection to this. It's automatically the message is sent to the bank when you say send closing request to bank, the second option.
no, there is nothing link with this link between the DMEs for the closing bank account. No, the DMEs is only meant for the payment details. Let's say whenever you're sending the payment details to the bank, example here, sending closing request to the bank, it would be always an email, right? You give a closing request to the bank by filling a form to the bank, physical format. You go to the bank, or you send an email to the bank, to the support team or the branch manager that you wanted to closing a request to the bank. So based on the email or physical form you apply to the bank, you come to the system and you saying update that that on which date you send a closing request to the bank.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it pops up some kind of a form where you just key in the details and
Yeah, I'm showing you that. For example, let's say you wanted to make a closing. The bank has decided they no longer going with the Citibank current account. They decided to mark for it, I mean, close this particular bank account. And instead, they will go to the Axis Bank. Let's say the first thing what they will do, they will click on the mark for closing. Yeah, this is 15/09/2024. You can see that relevant payment batches will be automatically approved. Okay, it's a warning message. Okay, leave that. Mark for closing. And then you send after that you can see once you click on mark for closing this tab will no longer available. Now after that you give a physical request to the bank. Let's say on the same day you can send an email or you went to a bank, send a information that you wanted to close this particular bank account. Now what will happen, bank will go and check if there is any amount is due or not. If it is due, then they will say to the customer, like to us, like provide this balance amount. Once it is done, only then we'll going to close it. So, or they will say no, there's nothing, no balance is required. So they will check 1 or 2 days they will take and they will find if there is any amount is due to this bank account. If they find everything is okay, they will send an email confirmation that you can close this, like, we can proceed to close this bank account. So they will say, we are closing this because there's no amount due. Okay. So once they send, we have closed the amount, no amount is due. They will send it over email, closing request, and you update, and then you can click on complete closing. That's it. Once you do the complete closing, no accounting, no transactions. You can see that if you go to this report, the status will come here as a closed bank account.
okay,
So
gotcha.
this is how the entire, not the end-to-end closing process has been maintained in S4 HANA, which was not there in ECC. We only in ECC we go and change the name like this, as I said. Instead, we remove that saying. We said comma comma. Do not use this bank account. Bank account number may be there. It will go and change some other number, or DL account will deactivate. Will remove this. That is the thing. But in this case, this is talks about the entire process of it. Okay. Now let's say I wanted to reinitiate the opening because this is our just example I have given. Reinitiate the open, change bank to activate. Okay, that's it. Now if I go back, you can see it is come back with the activation. So
Okay, so you can
that's
deactivate the same account too after even after closing. You can just in the system if you want to activate, you can do that as well.
this is just an example I have given, but ideally it could not cannot be.
Yeah, I mean,
But
once it is
what my
closed, you
point is, yeah, yeah. Initially you can close it, but if let's say normally we do not do that. But yes, just a
if it has
thing.
happened by
The first
mistake, somebody did that, it can be, I mean, in our as for HANA, we can,
workflow,
yeah.
workflow. This is all been controlled from the workflow. It is
Okay.
not like by mistake. There's no chances
Mm-hmm.
because this entire things we can assign a workflow,
Mm-hmm.
and once the workflow has been created, say whenever I create this closure request, a workflow can be enhanced a workflow to go to a particular person, and only that means what my point is, once it's closure done, we can control the system in a way that if someone initiate the, let's say by mistake, I'll do the initiate reopening. It will go to a particular approver for every. Once he do not find any reason for reinitiating the opening, he will not approve. He will reject the workflow. And then what will happen? It will still in the inactive status. It will be still in the closed status until unless the approver approve it. And why he will approve? When he will approve? When you find the specific reason. So that's a reason we always suggest a customer, as you rightly asked, what will happen if someone, for that only the workflow is coming to picture, so that nobody can do a mistake from each side. If someone is doing, another person would be there to validate it.
Right.
Okay, so that is for today. So before I wind up the session, any questions, any doubt?
Abhi, it was good. Abhi, we can copy when we are trying to set it up in the system. We can copy your TR00 company to create the new company code for our practice.
Yes, yes. You can create a new company code. Take your time because I feel everybody knows the FICO. You can go and create your own company code. Not required the TR00. You can make your own company code in
Yeah, I
your
can just copy the
SAP.
whole setup what you have, right? TR00. We
No,
can
no,
just
you cannot do the copy because we have created a different client. So what my point suggestion would be,
okay,
you
okay.
can go and make your own setting because your client would be different.
Yeah, I can take a copy of the model US company code and create one new company.
Yes, that is also you can do that.
Yeah.
So any question from anyone? If no, then we can wind up the session. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.